To say that 2020 is the year of disruption and change is to understate the obvious. Understandably, leaders have struggled mightily to address these overlapping changes simultaneously, dealing with economic, health, and logistical crises that have unfolded at top speed.
We gathered under the Stanford University umbrella world-class luminaries, leaders who generate impact and change at a global scale, for conversations on the future of leadership and change-making. What emerged was a new vision of leadership, which we call sapient leadership.
We're in the midst of so many crises happening at the same time. It's truly unprecedented times.
This is the first time, at least in my lifetime, and I think for most of us, where we are all facing great vulnerability about things that really matter.
We're trying to avoid being that next story about the retailer that grew and died because it didn't change by changing pretty aggressively. And this crisis has sped all that up.
Just let me put my medical hat on for a second. This disease is not going to go away. It will be a changed world, and this is an opportunity to rethink how we do things.
The whole world is changing, and every business is changing, and we must change.
Change is not a solo sport. All great change has been done by great teams, great communities, great networks.
It was Lincoln's quote that we must think anew and act anew.
The law of diminishing returns is a real thing. Like, if you don't change things, you decline.
So if you want to make a change in something, you have to get into it deep.
I think each one of us needs to decide to become the president the world needs.
Yeah, well, the hard part about that is you have to actually change yourself. You have to be clear on what your values are, what your purpose is, and what you want your cultural behaviors to be. And then most importantly, the leaders have to act that way. Like, you have to live it. It's got to be authentic and what you do habitually, not something that's forced, because if it's not you, it won't last. And it can't just be the person that's in the lead job. It's got to be a broad group of leaders that are behaving that way.
Being able to have the self-awareness to give up one part of your identity to embrace a new one is one of the greatest superpowers you can have if you want to have the greatest impact on the world.
For this moment or any other challenge we are going to continue to face and need to deal with collectively, collaboratively, with compassion, with care, with respect for science, with humility, with passion, with purpose, with good principles.
All of it was motivated by leadership, but actually there was a team involved in those changes that was incredible in terms of how fluidly they communicated, how much trust there was.
And we will not rebuild trust unless we start practicing measurement and disclosures and openness about things that really matter.
You learn as an organization how to spread what's common and create some form of leverage, and when to leave people alone so that they can act and move quickly.
Leadership is not given to few, it's inside of all of us, and life is all about unleashing that leadership.
It's one thing to talk about the significance of change, but if you don't pair that with real learning and development on your own, it falls short. And so I think one of my primary jobs is to be learning all the time.
I had to change my own conception of myself multiple times. And I noticed the times where I wasn't changing myself rapidly enough, where I wasn't maybe the most effective person I could be in my life, it was because I was fighting that change.
I realized that There are smart people all over the world. And so I used to travel. If I'd hear somebody doing something someplace in the world, I would pick up my pencil and paper and I would go and watch them do it.
Make sure you choose people who have aligned values, but are different from you in every other way.
There were guiding principles that we could use as something to hold on to. So in a chaotic environment where there's wind and rain and noise and you're trying to decipher a way forward, just as with our purpose and values, 5 crisis principles emerged.
I sat down and I said, why are we here? Why do we have a clinic? Why do we have doctors? Why do we have salaries? Why do we have a hospital? There's really only one reason, and that's for patients.
If you are not values driven, but you are building technology, you're really on dangerous ground.
We as a species have never confronted change of this magnitude or at this pace. Sapient leadership is a framework that enables accelerated adaptation in a wise and humane way.
Sapient leadership builds into its structure the imperative for leaders, teams, and organizations to continuously evolve in order to overcome the challenges of 3D change. Sapient leaders and their successful organizations change with change itself.
And I really do think this is the most significant leadership question we are all facing. And it is not few people that can fix this mess of ours. It's going to take all of us. And it's going to take this different formula for leadership.
We've been, I think on the forefront of really thinking our business is a platform for change.
I don't run Walmart. I help lead Walmart.
It goes back to the importance of team and organizing the team and getting all the players to play at their max. I think you have to be open for new ideas regardless of where they come from.
And then we got this phone call from the White House, and a request came in to do drive-through testing stations. And when you get that call, we a small group of us look at each other and say, we can help. Go do it. Go try to figure it out. We don't know how to do it. We don't even know how to bill. We're actually just donating the labor, and we're donating the PPE we bought, and we'll figure it out later. It'll probably be a good idea. So just go help.
Am I going to choose to be the person who has the courage and the humility to bring people together to build back better?